Hello, my name is Dr. Carl Candlepun, and this is a special episode of my new Lost podcast. This past week, I hosted a screening of the Lost episode, Tabula Rasa, and afterwards, I hosted a discussion between 4 first-time viewers and 1 veteran viewer like myself. Today, I present you with this discussion, largely unedited, and I invite you to join in the discussion by commenting on this episode or by sending an email to dr.candlepun@gmail.com. I do also recommend that you watch the video version of this episode due to the amount of people speaking. I personally imagine it may be difficult to track who all is speaking at which point if you are listening to the audio-only version, though of course you are welcome to do so if you prefer. The last disclaimer that I would like to add before getting to it is that the audio quality for this first-time discussion is not the best. I intend to continue experimenting with our audio options in the hopes of reaching an ideal level of audio quality. I already expect next week's discussion to be much improved in this department. But without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so joining us this week, he wasn't here for the pilot last week, but we have
Will Carter.
All right, and it's my understanding that you are caught up on the pilot?
I am caught up. I got to watch the pilots last night. I'm ready to talk about it.
Okay, what did you think of it?
I loved it, actually. It's funny because I never got to see it when it was on TV originally. My job was kind of a conflict because I worked in TV at the time. Yeah. So I was always getting ready for our newscast at night when it was playing, and so I never got to watch it. But I knew a little bit about Lost. Like I knew that a plane crashed, and I knew that like the gist was that there were people lost on the island. Yeah. But I never actually got to watch any of it. I never even saw the actual like plane crash like from the pilot. So it was really exciting to actually see that for the first time. And to see how incredibly cinematic that was for the time that was done. Because thinking back to the early 90s, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, they spent a lot of money on this pilot episode with all the plane and all the special effects in that one. I was kind of blown away by that for that time.
You've never seen the show. Have you had any big things spoiled for you?
Actually, no. It's weird. I mean, because again, my job really kept me out of the mix on a lot of it, and so I really don't know anything about it. I mean, so I'm really coming into Lost very new to the whole thing, other than just the initial, like, I knew that it had to do with a plane crashing on an island, but I didn't even realize really until watching it last night that there was kind of this mystical element to it. Mm-hmm. I didn't even realize that, actually. I thought it was more just about, it was going to be more about the drama of the people themselves, which there is a lot of that, sure, and you're seeing that very quickly build out of some of the character originations, but I didn't even realize that there was that whole supernatural element that was at play in the whole thing. So that was kind of a fun surprise last night.
Nice. Okay. So yeah, we're going to watch the 3rd episode tonight, and then we're going to have a group discussion, and it'll be great. Drew is the one person that has seen the show, besides me, that has seen the show before. Welcome to participate in the conversation, but please resist spoiling anything. And okay, just thoughts.
Spoiler: this episode was about Kate.
Yeah. Which literally, yeah. If you guys, I don't know if you guys have picked up on it yet, but he came cosplayed as Kate.
Yeah, I'll put the word on later. I didn't do nearly enough freckles. I was thinking, there's so many more freckles than I thought.
That's funny. But yeah, okay. Did anybody dislike it? Let's start there. Any criticisms?
I do have a criticism. I was kind of thinking, fuck you, when the doctor's like, I don't want to know. It's like, fuck you.
yeah.
Don't pull that shit. Just tell us what you know. I don't care if she murdered a bunch of kindergartners. I'd rather know.
Right. Yeah, it did. I would agree that it does kind of feel like
Jack was looking at the wrong time, and it's like, oh no, we're out of episode. We got to do the closing montage. Tell us another one.
Yeah.
That's actually something I wonder about with the whole show is knowing it's, I mean, as far as I know, it all takes place on an island. Like, how much of this is going to be just information there in an obligatory way, just stretching out with things like, withholding, like, for the sake of filling in future episodes versus like actual like progression.
Part of why people got frustrated and dropped off the show is because, it took like 5.5 years for the show to play out. And then after a couple of years, people got frustrated waiting for certain things. That's why I think it has held up a lot better on binge watching in the streaming era, because people don't have to wait a week in between. You don't have to wait a week in between. You don't have to wait a couple seasons to find out a specific thing. Of course, us watching it this way, it might get frustrating, which is why I said last week, I'll say it for you, I'd like to keep coming for the whole season, which will take a few months. If we get to the end of season 1 and you're like, I don't want to wait until next fall to start the new season, and you want to keep going with it, by all means, and then you're still welcome to come back to the screenings. You could be like Drew and just, hang out and maybe chat. BK. Yeah. Cosplay again, Wednesday, But okay, that's enough of me talking about that.
I don't know. I think what they were saying makes a lot of sense. At episode 2, realistically, it seems like this whole season is going to be a lot of character building, and based on that, it seems like it's going to be one character per episode, probably, where we're going to get some backstories. And I'm obviously really wondering about the guy that you keep seeing with the kid, and the one that was kind of the end of the shot on there. What's the deal with him? What's the mystery behind him, and why do they keep making him mystery man? I want to know I want to know more about him. Actually, is the one that I'm concerned about.
I do have a theory on him.
Do you?
Let's hear
What
it.
is it?
I think he's a red herring. I think he probably knows something about the island, but they want you to think he's dangerous. I don't think he is actually nefarious.
That makes sense. Why else? Like the whole thing he did with the dog and the kid. It's almost like they're setting him up to be a bad guy, but I don't think he is either. Actually, I think you're probably onto something there.
Either that or he eats kids. There's like
it could be that.
Yeah.
I have really vague
That's actually
memories
lucky,
of
dude.
commercials where he was portrayed as the bad guy, but I didn't really see enough to know whether they were true or not.
Right. Okay. Well,
I'm still laughing over the shooting him in the chest part, quite frankly. I was like, really? She walks out, shots fired, you think he's dead, and then he walks in, you shot him in the chest. Okay.
yeah.
I feel like that did give you the first moment where Sawyer feels like at least semi-likable.
Well, it shows you that he's not just I think that he tried to do it because he wanted to prove his point to Jack, the point he was making inside the plane. But he didn't love doing it, and then obviously wasn't very good at it.
I like the little moment where the other one passes the apple to him too. There, that little moment right there where you kind of see them break down that whole tiff that they have with each other too.
Yeah.
I was curious with the happy ending of the episode, if that was just network execs going like, look, people are going to be really taken aback by all the bad things. You need to have some happy stuff so people keep watching.
It does feel like we kind of landed after those first 2 were very actiony, and now we're kind of settling in, and we're like laying out tarps, and we're having closing montages and stuff.
So the way I had,
They almost feel like a 3-part pilot.
yeah. So the way I've watched it with groups in the past is I've broken it down into bigger chunks of episodes, and we watched the entire series over like 9 months, and we usually stop after 3 for the exact reason you're talking about. But it's funny what you're saying, because I almost sometimes wonder if it's the other way around, if network execs were like, okay, well, it seems like this is too resolved. You need something to hook them, to come back, and that it almost feels like that's why they added the shot.
But they probably had the shot, but not the music.
Right. Well, I don't know. It's pretty creepy look.
Yeah, the only difference is what music they play.
That's true.
They did the same
I think it just-
close-ups
yeah,
on everyone.
It just
It's
smiles
like-
at the end, and it's just like the same song keeps playing.
Yeah. Yeah. You just have to.
I will say that I actually liked the background of Kate. I feel like they didn't want us to know for sure whether she was good or bad, but they did want us to feel like there's more, she's not just dangerous.
Right. Yeah. When you say good or bad, you mean innocent or guilty?
Yeah.
So,
Well, apparently she's guilty of something, but I feel like
innocent.
it's morally gray.
Something that was weird to me too was I was trying to figure out if the U.S. Marshal guy that's dying had some relationship with her before, because like there was a hint of that, I think.
Yeah.
I was just kind of assuming it was a domestic violence situation.
I don't know what was going on there.
That's
but
like why
the-
the sword's in my head.
Because there was that, because with the one, like it was like a moment in there, and because when he asked Jack, so she got to you two or whatever, I was like, okay, what's the backstory there? Because then I wanted to know more about what their backstory was, which it started going down that path with hers, but then it just kind of stops, and you don't really get. So it feels like there's more to their backstory, which maybe that comes later in the show, but I feel like there's something happening there too, and I want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the 23,000?
Oh,
That's a pretty big.
Australian
And a pretty
currency.
specific number too. It was like
Which
a weird number
I
to
was
me.
like, okay, 23.
It's Australian currency, although,
We're
but that might even be more in U.S. dollars.
Maybe so.
I think it's less. It's about the same.
But check for 2004. Like, keep in mind, 20 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, Ray's arm.
I forgot that completely. That's definitely a reference to The Fugitive.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
And I know enough about the people that made this show that it was clearly deliberate.
Well, something I like about, or liked, when I first found it when I was younger, is like it really like it's almost like combining a bunch of different types of show. You got like the medical drama in Jack. I hope you guys won't consider this a spoiler.
We can say that this one is The Fugitive.
Well, as I was saying, you'll get flashbacks of each character, and you'll kind of get what their life was like before the island. And because each of their life is completely different, it's almost like it's their own TV show.
Yeah,
You got The Fugitive with Kate, you got a medical drama with Jack.
They took everything that sells and put it in one show.
That's right, yeah. You get a little bit of everything.
I think that is a mark of some things that are really successful, though.
Yeah.
Because, like, I always felt that way, like, about Gone with the Wind, which now is, like, we know that there's a lot of, like, problematic stuff to it. But I always talked about how much I liked it because it was, like, you had the adventure, you had the war, you had the romance, you had, like, everything. And Lord of the Rings was the same way.
I do have the data. I did.
Yes, please tell us.
So 23,000. So 1 Australian dollar is 69 cents. So
Okay,
if
nice.
you convert that, it's $15,780. In 2014, that would be the equivalent.
2004.
2004. Okay, it's going to be more.
Okay, but still, even with that, I mean, while you're doing the math,
It's $26,822.25.
U.S. dollar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Equivalent.
okay, so that's interesting
Today,
because I don't think that, I think based on that.
See, in 2004, that could buy you a house.
Yeah, but that, oh yeah, I guess that was only, but that was like her wanted number too, right? Was that the number that
Oh,
they
it
were
may have
giving
been.
in the cash? Because that was what I was thinking too. I was like, does that number correlate to like her have done something like really bad, like a murder or something like that? With $25,000 is not a very big bond. I love crime shows, and that's not a very big bond for something major. But maybe the bond was more, and she was just taking that amount, that 23, whatever, to give to him. But I don't know.
But as like a
Yeah, that was the
reward to
reward,
someone,
yeah.
It was the
that's
reward
a big
money.
difference between.
Oh, that's right. It was the reward. Yeah.
Because they're paying someone to like, hey, turn this person in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Makes sense because that would have been about that 25,000 American mark. So that probably makes sense.
Well, keep in mind, you guys don't know what she did, how serious it was, how long they've been.
I have a shot.
Enough to send someone to Australia.
Right?
I'm sure.
My shot in the dark is I think she was in an abusive relationship and she ended up killing the guy, possibly in self-defense, but because of the circumstances, she's wanted for a murder charge. And that's why she's on the run, and that's why it's as high as 25,000. Because in the eyes of the law, she's on the run for killing someone.
Just to add to that, I think the U.S. Marshal was the guy, and that he has so many connections that she can't get away from him.
So
I
you
will say he's a lot more of a creep than I remember.
Yeah.
I just remembered him as just a generic cop guy. He is much more of an asshole.
well, but I mean, he
great
can't be the abuser in Lucas's situation because he's saying that she killed the guy.
Right, but so I'm just saying that I don't think she killed.
Oh,
So,
We've
yeah,
okay.
maybe she killed somebody else trying to.
Or maybe she did something really bad to him and he's coming back for
Or
revenge.
maybe he did the murder and framed her for it.
Would you guys
I
be
think she
satisfied
would
if it
be
was
more
something?
directly hostile to him if he killed someone and framed him.
Yeah.
I don't think she would be like on the fence about, oh, I kind of don't want him to live because he knows my secret, but also I don't want him to die. If someone killed someone and framed me, I'd be like, kill.
Well, she puts the oxygen mask on and the thing goes down.
Yeah, she
She
cares
saves his
about him.
life.
That's
But
true.
and in this one, she's only advocating for his death when she finds out that he's suffering, and she right away finds out that Jack already knows so she's not wanting him dead to protect her secret. Or
That's true.
I think she was sleeping with the detective at some point. I think maybe she did kill her husband or something through a dispute or something like that. And at some point they got involved. Is what happened. I think there was some
But
involvement.
he did point finger guns at her. Like he was pretty threatening with Ray.
He just wanted to bang.
I don't know.
I think that's what she said.
No.
I mean, that makes sense because she said, "Oh, she got you too," which can be taken as like she
Got to me, or
tricked you into thinking she's a good person, but also like she's a good-looking lady. So.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, I think she got him in a couple of different ways. So
How old is she in this show?
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Because like I know her, of course, from like
more recent stuff.
yeah, more recent stuff. So it's like this seems like her earlier stuff. I think. And
This-
the agent seems quite a bit older than her.
Yeah, so I could be wrong. I believe she's 23.
I was gonna
I
say
think
that. I
that's
feel
what
like
the
she's in her
actress
mid
is saying.
twenties.
Maybe
Yeah.
slightly older.
Well, no, but I'm saying I could be wrong. I think
I don't think it's
remember
ever
being established
stated
at some point.
especially.
Well, they do
That's
establish.
young.
I mean, she seems really young in the flashbacks. Like I was like that. I was like, was she like 16 when this happened? Because I felt like she looked even younger in the flashbacks when they did those, and I was like, especially when she was at the farm, she looked really, really young in that. And then so I was like, okay, so what's she in her mid 20s now at the time of the plane crash? So what happened?
But those seem to be just days before.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she
So I guess
she
that's
ends
true,
up on
yeah.
his farm months beforehand. She's there for a few months, and then when she gets arrested, that's short.
That's just right before.
Yeah.
She's never left the farm. This island is the farm.
Is Australia an island?
That's why there's so many crazy animals all over the place. It's Australia. They have
I do
polar
think
bears.
it's interesting that they
Right,
didn't
yeah,
make
the
her more questionable. Like, I don't buy it that she's like done anything really bad.
Well, so I guess let me ask you that: if you have to wait an extended period of time, and then you found out that she didn't do anything that bad, would you be almost unsatisfied by that?
Given how this episode ended, I would because
Yeah.
it became such a non-factor.
Yeah.
Because was it Jack's like I don't need to know, and like Hurley's pretty harmless at this point, just the comic relief. And, like
Yeah.
they're really only two that know.
Every 3 episodes that pass without telling us, there needs to be another body.
Right.
Wait, you were the one that said before we started that you wanted somebody to die.
Somebody died.
Yeah.
Somebody died.
Someone's got to die in every episode. So, like, we got the one down. Now the question is, who's going to be the next one to get eaten by whatever it is?
By the dinosaur.
Invisible dinosaur.
Yeah.
I forgot. I couldn't remember if the farmer died too. I was trying not to spoil it either way.
Yeah. So this episode kind of starts introducing like more philosophical like things to consider that they have to consider. Like, do they tell people about the transmission, or do they kill the marshal? What are all the factors in that? I guess let's start with the transmission thing. Like, do you guys agree with the decision not to tell people what they heard? No opinion.
I think it makes sense, but I think it's just setting up the fact that whole thing is just going to slowly fall apart because they're going to start telling one-offs. That's what's going to happen. She's already done it with him. They're just going to one-off slowly tell everybody so they all know. So I think ultimately they'll all know anyway.
Well, even at one point, Jack was talking about. He's like, "Oh yeah, he's like we're treating him with the antibiotics," and then the other guy's like, "Well, rumor has it that he's not getting better." It's like so. They already can't keep secrets to save their lives.
Right.
Yeah, the small town drama is about to play out. I mean,
Well, the sister that's, kind of a bitch.
yeah, she's annoying. I don't like her at all.
The one that would be the biggest problem finding out they're all going to definitely die eventually already knows. So, like,
Well, out of like the 14 or 15.
I hope she dies next. She won't. She's going, so she's not gonna die. They're gonna kill someone who's like
Cool.
been in the periphery for a hot minute.
Then we're gonna be like, why them?
Yeah. And it's gonna be way more like aggressively violent than it needs to be. And it's gonna be like, what did they have against that person? Were they a dick on set?
I do feel like it does kind of take away the option of creating a group to go look for whoever was doing that transmission. Like to see if that radio is somewhere playing it. You can't really do that if you're not telling anybody that it's happening.
Yeah, because I want to see something happen.
I feel like I hit on something.
So are they the only group that can go explore together? Because they know, like,
oh, we're gonna go somewhere no one can come.
yeah.
I will say that yeah, like as a viewer, if they never tried to figure out anything else about that,
There's obviously some machine that's still going.
Yeah.
And how is it still going?
How is it still going?
Right, I would already be pointing the Safari. So
seriously, right? That should have been the first thing.
Right.
Well, and if they want to get the transceiver working at some point,
They gotta override that.
Yeah, they do need to get rid of that signal. So yeah, it would be.
So I feel like
It would be unsatisfying if they never. Yeah.
Which I thought he set up really
Everyone
nicely
knows
where he
what it
came
is.
back and was like, I need batteries and phones and all that because if we're going to do this, we need more power. But I wasn't sure if that meant like we're going to override what's happening or if we got to go shut that down first. So I'm anxious to see what happens there.
Yeah. Well, and so that's the other thing to keep in mind, especially with the pace that we're watching it, like on a weekly basis. This episode ends on like the third day that they're on the island. Like that's the way this show plays out. Is it's day to day. Every once in a while, they'll skip a day or two, but like, so them not going right away to look for the source of that, like, keep in mind.
It's all still fresh.
Yeah, the pace at which these things are unfolding.
Well, for
is
me, it's just
different.
like the conversation. Like, not that they would have necessarily left right away, but like maybe it's not time to be like, let's keep a secret with the Hope thing until after you find out like what's going on with that transmission. Because there technically still would be Hope.
Well,
if there's some sort of machine that's still on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if I was stuck on an island 1,000 miles away from everyone thinks where we are, and you told me, hey, so it turns out someone's been playing the transmission for 16 years saying that something on the island murdered everyone, and they honestly never got rescued. I don't know. I think I would feel a bit of a way about that.
But if it was a recording and she got rescued, she wouldn't have been able to. She wouldn't have gone back to turn off the recording.
That's true too. I actually thought about that a little bit. I was like, could the recording just been left on because they never came back?
Yeah,
Well, I
I
thought about that.
Wait, let me go back.
This is interesting.
I think they do say that in the episode. It's like someone says she probably just got rescued and left it.
Well, then somebody
else
said,
says-
well, then why is it still playing?
Yeah.
But what's interesting about what you guys are saying, though, is you guys are clearly making an assumption, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
But my question is, what's powering it for 16 years if they did
Right.
leave it? So
You guys are making an
there's a
assumption
compound
about.
somewhere.
You guys are making an assumption about it not being with her, like with the transceiver.
Oh
with
yeah,
them.
it's clearly in some bunker somewhere on the
Yeah.
island.
Yeah.
Like, they had a survival bunker 16 years ago.
I feel like if she has it just like running like that, she would have changed it at some point. Like if she were there.
It makes me
Still
wonder if they were there, just based on like what the transmission was. Were they there on some kind of expedition or something, exploring the island? Maybe they were archaeologists or something like that. But something, there's some backstory to that whole thing. They were there exploring and found something they shouldn't have found, which is clearly still on the island. And so I think that somewhere eventually they're going to find some remnants of whatever research was being done 16 years ago.
See, and I actually think they're going to run into people at some point.
And they could. They
Yeah.
could.
Like, because there's what, 7 seasons?
6.
Six.
They do get shorter.
Gotcha. It just seems like that's such a long time only focusing on the core.
Well, that's my fault.
10, 12 people. I'm like,
Right.
It's like clearly they
It
have, to
worked for
introduce,
Gilligan.
they have to introduce new elements somehow.
Okay, the whole
But the
time.
Harlem Gold Guard.
The whole-
Don't go on a Gilligan's
The whole
Island.
time I was watching
We don't have
it,
time.
at least for the first, like the whole pilot, I kept thinking that in my head. I'm like, this is like a badass Gilligan's Island with a lot of special effects that they did not have in the Gilligan days.
I think it's the professor. That one's pretty obvious.
Right.
Yeah.
There's definitely some reference to some similarities.
We don't
there,
know if
but
there's
it's-
a movie star.
Right.
I won't spoil if there is or not.
Oh, it's clearly his sister. Who needs to be killed off. To your point.
Yeah.
Dude.
Dyalla increased my enjoyment of just for her
You
to
just
die
don't
in some
like having a
violent
pretty
way.
girl in the
Like,
episode?
It's not, no,
I
it's
like
not that.
her
She's just
lady.
annoying.
Like, she's nice.
Right.
And if she, I mean, she's
I
pregnant.
like
but
Kate
also
better.
clearly
Apparently, she's
very
done something
attractive.
horrible. So
Yeah.
But you gotta love a bad girl, though.
right, that's true.
It's just when they're annoying.
She'll get better though, you know. They always do.
She's the stereotypical annoying blonde.
She is.
So,
The show does introduce kind of archetype, stereotypical
Mhm.
things, but then it does kind of subvert that the more you get to know each person. So maybe with her.
I don't think it can be done.
I feel like that's a smart way to
there's a
do
way.
things though. I feel like that's a smart way to do things because you can kind of like have more of a story to them without actually telling them the story.
Yeah.
Like I was just talking about this with a couple of people, how some of the shows lately have chosen characters or actors who played other characters that are similar to the characters that they're playing. Like Jeremy Allen White in The Bear. Like he feels like his character from Shameless. So you already have the whole story he lived in Shameless in the beginning, so you've already bought in to the story. Because if you're watching The Bear, you probably at least watch some of Shameless.
Yeah.
And I think that's like it's a good way for shows early on to start the connection when they don't have a lot of time to build it.
Sorry, so you're saying like this show's doing a similar thing or a different?
Yeah, the stereotype. Well, they're doing the
okay.
stereotype thing because
Because most
they
of these
didn't
were
really.
not well-known actors at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wasn't talking about but just quick, easy ways
To remember the character.
to be like you already you know what this story is, what
Right.
this person is.
It's kind of like we were talking earlier, where they've almost taken all the genres and put it into one, so
Yeah.
that you get your feel of I'm watching my Grey's Anatomy over here, and I'm watching,
Yeah.
I'm watching Prison Break over here, and this is happening over here, and CSI, and all the things. So
That was an impressive list of shows from 2000.
Yeah, they're all accurate.
Right.
I don't think they're gonna give blonde bitch
That is so strong.
can we get T-shirts that say
Like-
blonde bitch?
Look, they can only, it's a law of television. You can only give one blonde character a redemption arc at a time. So until they finish with
Ah,
the
yes.
blonde
And we-
baddie, they're not going to go with the blonde.
And we
bitch.
both know if this was a horror movie, she would be running through the jungle and would be the first to die. So
Well, second.
second,
I
yeah.
mean, this is the 2000s. You have
Right.
to kill black characters.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Like, that's a
and
requirement.
then she's next. So
Yeah.
Okay, so we know you don't like the blonde bitch.
I don't hate her as much as I'm saying. but-
Just playing devil's advocate about her.
Well, sorry.
I think she will become a likable character
Yeah.
at some point, season 2 or 3.
yeah, she needs an arc moment, and she's way long
They-
ways from it.
They need to have a redemption arc for blonde guy and then kill him, and then they'll start working on her.
By blonde guy, you're referring to this weird.
Blonde bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, are there any other strong reactions to characters, whether good or bad, besides like I really don't like that one?
At first, I thought you were calling me shit. I guess
Yes, we're having a strong reaction to you, Shannon.
You're kind of the Shannon of the group.
Shannon is the new Karen. Okay.
No, yeah, Shannon is the blonde.
Oh, she is the Karen of this time, actually. You're right. That's great.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting to me how they really play into the chaos in the pilot. That how we were talking about this a second about how quickly it calmed down in this episode. You know, like they went on the hike and he's trying to save the guy and all that. But it honestly, to me, seems relatively calm for what happened. I just knowing people and having been through like weather things and stuff in the past, it just seems there's not enough panic happening at this point to only be on like the second or third day of this whole thing. I feel like there would be some others having full meltdowns. Maybe they're still in shock. It could be just still in the state of shock that they're in. But
Sure.
I'm waiting for the breakdowns to really start happening when people start losing their shit and the real. I mean, there's been some moments of that, but not as much as you would honestly think after surviving a plane crash. You would think there would be a lot more panic and chaos still happening at this point.
I feel like maybe they've just reached the point where they've like done so much panicking and chaos, they just don't have it.
Or they're just numb, or they're tired, or whatever.
Yeah, like they just need like a minute.
Because your body's been through a lot of trauma.
Well, there could be some. I mean, there's so many ways you can explain that away. I think it's a valid point, especially considering, like you said, you've been around real life stuff. But there could still be some denial about, like, okay, well, it's taking them longer to get here. Because remember, not everybody knows certain things. I think they all know they were off course.
It's a little, because they say they're going to hide it, and then it seems like everybody knows anyway. Yeah. That's kind of a plot hole, I think.
Well, they never said they were going to hide the 1,000 miles off course. They didn't tell everybody what happened to the pilot.
But it seemed like some people still somehow knew, I think.
The people that found out about the pilot were on the truck with Charlie and Kate. And my understanding of what happened there with Charlie just fucking ran his mouth while they were hiking. But
There's a strange absence of people being freaked out by a giant monster.
Well, but how would you react? Like, if that really happened to you, would you really, like?
I would have questions.
Sure, but who would you be asking them to?
I know.
I would be trying to set something up, like if they have a camera or something, or some plan to try and figure out without, jumping into the maws of the beast, what exactly is going to eventually probably come and kill us.
Okay.
But I mean, batteries.
My question with that is, like, did we have camera phones yet?
We didn't.
Not
really, but they did have cameras.
They did have,
and they weren't on
stuff.
That's a bit of a thing that never comes up. I don't think any one of the characters was like just on vacation with like a camera or anything. That we find out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's been no cameras. That's interesting.
Well.
Just like a Kodak.
It's not like they can charge these things.
There's like 400 dead people or something like
that.
No,
yeah, surely there's cameras.
There were 324 passengers.
Okay.
There's 48 survivors that we. Well, I mean, there were 48 survivors. Now one of them dead. So 200 something dead people. And keep in mind,
so
they aren't all on the
food
beach.
To feed the monster for like a period of time.
So
well,
when they do start breaking out into groups, we have to just wait like that's not a main character. That's our sacrificial.
Good tonight.
That's our sacrificial character.
Yeah.
I was feeling really sad about the Discman and how it's all kind of gonna die and he's not gonna listen to it. It's gonna.
Yeah. I remember the Discman.
That'll count as a character death, right? with the walking.
No. The dog will count. But
that one's
that will count for like 3 episodes.
That'll be the one that people cried over who didn't cry over people.
Hey, I'm just waiting for it to go full Lord of the Flies, but instead of hunting pigs, they're hunting polar bears.
There you go.
Well, let's talk about the polar bear.
Yeah,
that brings up a great point. I'm really curious about the whole polar bear thing and what that's all about. And obviously, it wasn't the beast or whatever's in the woods, I don't think, but why the hell's there a polar bear on Tropical Island too? And obviously, there's the parallel of something supernatural going on. Maybe there's portals, something's happening. I don't know. Something's coming from somewhere it shouldn't be. So
Michael Jackson in the fursuit.
Because this is Thriller.
So you do not comment on this. Maybe does anybody else have any thoughts about the polar bear?
I mean, I feel like they could be in a northern or southern island instead of because they're so far off course, they could be further than they think they are.
This looks a lot like Hawaii.
Well,
it's just a lot like Honolulu specifically.
Polar bears are in the Arctic. They are in the South Pacific. Unless something weird happens, like portals, like he's saying, because if they were just about 1,000 miles off course, they would still be in the South Pacific. And just based on the heat.
And very tropical foliage and things like that.
Oh, that's true. That's
very
true.
non.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder, is it one of those things where like there's this massive like weather shift that comes or something, and it supports that, but it doesn't make sense. Like, while it's a tropic, that there would be a polar bear walking around in the tropics. So it just, I don't know, it's weird.
Maybe a ship
Well-
that was transporting animals crashed.
Yeah, you know.
Wipe the price bill.
Okay, but what has the polar bear been
I mean, I'm not a polar bear expert, but I imagine.
Clearly
same
not the
stuff.
dog. The dog's still alive.
I would
Well,
imagine
plus,
other
there's
animals.
a lot of dogs.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah,
this was
there's animals on the island, so
Yeah, I mean, polar bears would eat animal, fish type things. You get all that.
what other animals are there? They've seen polar bear and the dog. They haven't.
We know
seen-
there's
Also-
we
so
know there's
this-
sea urchins that make a delicious sushi normally.
Well, and the fish that I said, but okay, there was something that chased Michael. That remember, there's something that chased Michael's a black guy. Got chased.
yeah.
Lady. Sounded different than the polar bear. Definitely not the monk.
The
Do you know what
baby
it
polar
was?
bear.
I do know what it was, and you will find out soon. What did you say?
The baby polar bear. Why was the polar bear so aggressive? Mama bears are super aggressive. Babies. We haven't seen the baby yet.
I do feel like they haven't established any reason why there wouldn't be any other animals.
Right.
So I think it's fair to just assume that they're there.
Where's the lab? I want to go. They were experimenting on polar bears in some bunker somewhere. Or they opened a portal to hell somewhere. They went to Antarctica.
Hell is full of polar bears.
Right.
This is
Famously frozen over.
Hell froze
it's
over.
just doomed. Any thoughts on creepy backgammon dude?
Yeah, that's the one that's
What's-
got me all puzzled. I want to know what his deal is.
I think he's gonna end up being bad. I think he's gonna end up like maybe morally gray, but like not a good guy.
No, I think even the scar on the eye, like where he got ripped
Yeah.
open, it's just like it looks like something that would be on a bad guy.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know why, but I'm like fixated on like where he got cut on his face.
I think it's a red herring. He's so obviously villain coded that in this type of show, it's like that's too obvious for him to be the villain.
Well, he has that whole monologue about the pieces. He's like the light and the dark, and he's like, I have a secret, and it's a miracle, and like it's such heightened language. It's like clearly he's something's up with him.
Well, so what I'll say about, and this doesn't confirm if it's a red herring or not, but I talked last week about how Stephen King is a huge inspiration for the show, and if you look at certain works of his, there are a lot of similarities. And there is oftentimes in Stephen King books, there is a character that projects beliefs onto certain events, and then they see themselves as very much a good person, and then but maybe that means scary things for other people. And I'm not saying that. I'm saying that might be where they're hinting it's going, but maybe it is right there.
I feel like he's probably just terminally ill and like flying home to die or something. And then this crash happens and he thinks it's like a spiritual, like religious fervor is what he believes, something like that.
Is this episode more believable?
I wish Ken was here so we could ask him. I really am kind of sad that he didn't show up. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like a more. Not that this was overly positive, but like, you know, I like talking more about like, oh, what do you think's going on versus like, I didn't like this, I didn't like this, I didn't like this. But yeah, I most people I talk to Lost about have seen it. It's a positive conversation, so it would have been interesting. And who knows, maybe he will come back.
Show up this work and be like, come on, let's go. This becomes a cult where we like force everyone we know to watch it.
Well, that's
You don't
what,
have a choice.
That's what he was literally afraid. Like that's what he asked me. He was the first one here last week, and he asked me, he's like, "So is this like some kind of like religious show?" And he's like, he was getting, like, I just want to understand, like, why are you like so insistent on everybody getting together and watching it? Like,
Yeah, in the 4th episode, they introduced Jesus Christ. Right? It's after the 3 days, which is 3 days have happened. So.
It's a great arc. He won an Emmy for that. So
He's played by
Jesus.
Mel Gibson.
I think it's a happy ending of the episode.
It's literally just all them being like, man, thank God we were saved.
Oh, but the wicked ones stay, that's where.
No, I mean, they view the crash.
Character left.
Yeah.
Everyone else is rescued. She alone. It's just her fighting for survival. You have to like her.
See, at first I was thinking he really dislikes this character, but I think it says something that he thought everyone else did deserve to be saved. Everybody else is in good grace with Jesus already. It's actually a very positive opinion.
I mean, the Asian
Just a
Jews
bunch of
tag
perfect,
control,
nice people.
But,
Yeah.
No one else deserves damnation. Quite
Maybe
She
just deep down, maybe you just actually really like her.
Yeah, right.
And you're
think
like
you
having
got
a hard
I
time.
think you really
This
relate.
is great.
Does she look like an ex-girlfriend?
No, I mean she is as far as like.
I mean, his mother's name is Shannon, so there is that.
As far as like demeanor and how she is with other people, she is like the nastiest character as of so far. I mean, other than maybe
Sawyer's
Sawyer, I
kind
was
of
gonna say
nasty.
Sawyer is, but like almost in a more like entertaining.
Yeah, but he's buff, so.
So we'll put up with it, I guess.
If you make a character hot enough, threshold you cross.
So you don't think Shannon's hot enough, is what you're saying?
Hope she never sees this video.
If she's watching this,
Sorry.
you're welcome to slide into my DMs. I will take everything in a heartbeat.
Maybe before we go, I want Lucas to just look at a picture of all the characters and just tell me what names he's given them all.
In my head,
Yeah,
I don't
we'll just
know.
pull it up on the screen.
I
like,
don't
what's
know.
the cast
I
list.
What's Jack's name?
Oh no, I don't know any of their.
Yeah, because it's on the DVD box, isn't it? It's all the characters.
Yeah, don't go looking inside this, but just
But yeah, this is season 1, I think. So
Alright.
some of them are a little shadowy. We'll just go right to left. This is Walt for the viewers at home on the
Oh
left.
no, I don't know any of these characters' names.
Right. I know. I'm still figuring out.
Why are you
their
just
names.
calling them in your?
know
Why are you just
how
calling
to-
them in your head right now?
Well, the kid,
Yeah, the
because
kid.
he's the only kid.
Okay.
That's,
It's a little hard to
that's,
see who's in
that's how I get past that one.
I think it's Michael is next to him.
well, that's they
It's a
should
little-
be.
It's a little
they
hard to
should-
see on the box.
No, I know, but they should be able to know from whatever he calls them
Yeah.
who he's talking about if he does this right.
No. See, this guy's in From, so I like him from From. So he's Chad, the black guy. Is that blonde bitch? I can't
No, that is.
No. Oh, so that's the pregnant lady. Okay. So, anyway, next one's the Asian lady. Then there's Pippin. No, is it Mary? or is it-
Mary.
Mary. Okay. Mary. Jack. I actually know his name.
One out of 5 so far.
Katie, because her name has been said 70 something times
What is it
in this
again?
discussion. Katie.
It's Kate, so.
Kate. Well, she's Katie from the blonde baddie or the hunk, obviously. Tech bro, the blonde bitch. Attempt at humanizing the blonde bitch. The best
Is that
character.
Harpoon?
Yeah, that's her brother.
So you like Boone?
The brother.
No, but he's not as bad as she is.
Sure.
Is there not? I want to know if there's more story with Boone because I feel like I remember like he was a significant character, but I never watched it. I just
know.
remember him being significant.
I don't feel like this is a spoiler, but there is more story with all of them.
Next week, it's just a whole new cast.
I don't know if I told you guys this, but like right before Lost, I actually was an extra in a movie with him.
You told me, yeah.
Right before he did the show, and like it was like a really bad like B movie. So, but
We still have 3 characters to go.
Okay.
So-
So the fat guy is the best character, obviously.
That's great.
I mean, when he dies, I will actually be sad. Him and the dog, pretty much. There's the Yakuza dude. And then in my head, it's Victor, but that's from because he's that type of character.
Oh, the bald guy.
Victor, red herring.
Gotcha. I thought you were saying that he was in it,
Bald,
the actor. But
bald guy.
no, he just reminds you of a different character.
A different character from Frog. His name is Victor.
So we did strong feelings about character. What about what's everybody's favorite character?
Okay, real quick before I take this out. Favorite character?
Kate and Boone.
Big Boom. You don't have to have one,
Bald guy with the scar on his side.
but hell yeah.
I like. No, I can't decide. I like the doctor guy, Jack, and I actually like. What's the one that played Pippin or whatever his name?
Oh, Charlie.
Charlie. I like Charlie a lot. I think he's fun.
Oh, obviously.
I know you've seen it, but
yeah.
Charlie. I just got through saying I don't want to see
I don't know his name. It's like Hurley or
Hurley. Yeah, I was gonna say
The Hook.
You said Hurley was the only one to be sad to die.
Hurley
So
with an H.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But all right, on that note.
And my favorite to hate is obviously the ball.
Okay. And we'll see if that changes at all. Maybe it will, maybe it won't.
I would now like to give a special thank you to the currently active donors. These include candidate number 90, Ben Ward, candidate number 108, Jeffrey Winslow, candidate number 69, Brian Phillips, candidate number 32, Chuck Boyd, and candidate number 341, Hans. If you too would like to become a candidate, you can do so for as little as $1. One-time or recurring donations can be set up on Ko-fi.com/candlepun or Patreon.com/candlepun. A donation of any amount will get you credited in this podcast and added to the candidate wall, which will be displayed in all video versions of the episodes of this podcast from that point forward, even once you're no longer donating. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the multiple people that have donated equipment and resources that are used in the production of this podcast. These include Mary Mullins, Brandon Huth, Charles Huth, William McMahon, and Charlene McMahon. Until next time, namaste and good luck.
Just go off topic here.
I'll just leave that recording just in case.
Everyone say your social security number.
So I don't know if you guys have started listening to Christmas music yet.
We're packing it up.
This is fantastic. Actually, I'm surprised no one came in here early. We usually close about 15 minutes before.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay,
So if you guys can grab your stuff and come on out so we can come in and just pick up in a few minutes. That's awesome.
To like this video, click the thumbs up. Or, if there has been an incursion by the hostiles, click the thumbs down. To leave feedback, enter a comment below. To be notified when more videos arrive, click the circle and then select the notification bell. To view previous content from this channel, click either of the two boxes.